Hello, everybody. And on this special edition of Vince Russo's The Brand, I'm going to open up in song. I'm going to pay a little tribute to my beloved Beatles, who are finally getting their own station tomorrow on Sirius Radio. Thank God. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure it costs Sirius a boatload of money. But starting tomorrow, there will be a Beatles channel on Sirius. And today is the return of A Bucket Full of Chicken Necks. So I'm going to sing an obscure Beatles song to break us into the show. Try the two together, if you will. Thank you, Dusty. It's been a long time. Now I'm coming back home. I've been away now. Oh, how I've been alone. Wait till I come back to your life. We forget the tears we cried. That's a little ditty called Wait from my favorite Beatle album of all time, Rubber Soul. And I'm talking about the original Rubber Soul released back in like 65, 66, not the remastered Rubber Soul that had some songs on it that wasn't on the original disc. But yeah, the Beatles tomorrow on Sirius Radio. Bucket Full of Chicken Necks back today. I have so many things I want to talk about. I'm going to be freaking all over the place. I got a lot of topics here to cover, but I'm sure you're not going to get bored. I'm going to go back to my album of the week. I got an album I want to talk about, but chock full of news. The first thing I want to hit, because I saw this right before I came on to do this show and started to record this show. Giselle, Tom Brady's wife, was on Good Morning, CBS this morning, and she talked about her husband, Tom Brady, being concussed all the time. And Giselle even made the statement that he was concussed just last year. However, there is no report of Tom Brady receiving a concussion in 2016, which means that he was concussed. He knew he was concussed. His wife knew he was concussed, but it was held back from the league. So the question is, did the Patriots know he was discussed? Did Tom Brady hold it back from the Patriots? And did the Patriots hold it back from the NFL so Brady wouldn't miss any time on the field? Either way, bro, listen, I'm not pointing fingers at the Patriots or any of that stuff. But Tom Brady, Giselle makes this statement that she wants to live happily ever after once your football career is over for the next 100 years. And you know what, bro? That's what it's all about, man. Tom Brady is perhaps the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL. And Tom Brady is also a very intelligent man. Tom, why would you play with a concussion? Why would you hide it? Why would your team hide? Why would you put your family in that kind of jeopardy? Family first, bro. Husband first, bro. Father first, bro. At the end of the day, it's just a game, man. And we see the repercussions of especially all these wrestlers and these football players with concussions over the years and the toll that they take. Come on, Tom. There's always next week, bro. And I'm going to get into this a little bit more later on, as it pertains to wrestlers. There's a lot going on with Randy Orton and what he said about the indie scene. I'm going to talk about that as well. Bro, I got a million things to talk about here. I'm going to be all over the place. I'm telling you right now, but you're not going to get bored. I told you guys, I mentioned a little bit about it. Bro, the Attitude Era was a different time. There can't be anything risque on wrestling anymore. The WWE, we got to just have female wrestlers. Nothing, all sexiness has been taken out of the product, yada, 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 yada. Bro, here's the part that I don't understand. we all make excuses and we all say, well, the WWE is a publicly owned company now. You know what, bro? If I'm a WWE stockholder, and I'm not, but if I were a WWE stockholder, wouldn't you want the WWE to make as much money as freaking possible so I can get a return on my investment? I mean, doesn't that make sense? So the fact that they're a publicly owned company, I would believe that the public is in it to make money. And there's nothing wrong with a sexy girl on TV. I'm not talking about girls running around freaking naked with their boobies hanging out. I'm not talking about that, bro, but I'm talking about, can we have some sexiness on the show? We see Maurice for maybe 2 minutes, and that's it. We see Charlie. She's wearing a turtleneck up to a freaking nose like Bazooka Joe. What the hell happened to sexiness, bro? And I even mentioned this the other day. Amy Schumer is coming out with a new movie. She was on the Stern Show, and she promoted her movie by saying, I expose one of my breasts, and you see one of my breasts. Now, I think Amy Schumer is sneaky hot. Quite frankly, bro, I wouldn't have paid money to see Amy Schumer and Goldie Hawn. Maybe I would have rented it. But the fact that Amy said, my breast is going to do a little peekaboo, guess what, bro? I went to see the movie on Monday just so I could see Amy Schumer's right breast. I'm not ashamed to say that. I had a whisper the other day because my wife was in the other room. My wife's not home now. So I'm not ashamed to say it, bro. I went to the movie theater to get a glimpse of Amy Schumer's right breast. It was worth the money to me, bro. It's that freaking simple. I'm a hot-blooded man. We want hot freaking women, bro. I so much has changed, and I'm so sick and freaking tired of it, bro. I'm bored. I'm bored with everybody being politically correct. I'm bored with what we can do and we can't do. I'm freaking bored with it. Bored with it. Let me tell you what else I'm bored with. I'm bored with M. Night Shyamalan, whatever his freaking name is. Bro, this guy had one good movie, The Sixth Sense. Remember The Sixth Sense, bro, with what's his face from Die Hard? Bruce Willis. That was a classic, bro. His first movie, M. Night Shyamalan, which was like 20 years ago, whatever the frick it was. Bro, every movie after that was a freaking stinker. One right after another. Unbreakable, maybe okay. Give them the benefit of the doubt. The rest of them stinkers. Why do I continue to watch this guy's movies? I'll tell you why. Because there was a trailer for Split, which just came out on the Red Box yesterday. Speaking of the Red Box, bro, bring back the video store, please. Let me have a DVD case in my hand. Let me feel the DVD case. Let me smell it. Let me sniff it, bro. With the Red Box, can we bring back the video stores? Anyway, I rented Split because there was a good trailer. Bro, this movie was a freaking bomb. Like this was a bomb. I sat there. First of all, my wife left the room 30 minutes in. I stayed with it, bro, because I paid $2 for it. What a freaking bomb. How many movies is this guy going to be allowed to make? You talk about me being a freaking one-hit wonder, but yet you forget under my pen, TNA was drawing 2 million people, not 250,000. This Shyamalan Ding Dong, one good freaking movie, and the rest of them sick. I went to see that mess in the elevator. I went to see that mess where these people were living on some kind of commune, only to find out it wasn't. Oh my God, bro, every freaking Shyamalan movie sucks. I'm not going to see another Shyamalan movie. Even if he shows his right breast, I ain't going to go see the Shyamalan movies. I want to talk about another thing I'm a little intrigued by, bro. I got so many things going on here. I got so many notes. I don't want to miss anything. I'm going to be all over the place. Bro, I talked about the Beatles early on. And bro, I remember as a kid, man, there was the great hoax of Paul McCartney is dead. Paul McCartney supposedly was killed in a car accident. He was replaced by a body double. And then, all these songs came out and album covers with hints of his death. Bro, this haunted me as a kid. This scared the crap out of me as a freaking kid. Bro, to this day, Ringo Starr, Paul McCartney, the only two living members of the Beatles. Paul McCartney never talks about it to this day. Everybody says, bro, it was a publicity stunt because the Beatles record sales were down. The Rolling Stones were coming on strong. There was, great competition. This was a publicity stunt. Bro, Paul McCartney never talks about this. And I love this stuff, bro. I love this conspiracy theory stuff. I just want to know the conversations that went on with the Beatles and the record label, to come up with this. Some of the songs you played backwards and it was Paul's funeral, some fascinating stuff, but whatever. Now, this is the second time this story has, reared its head, but now there's talk of Avril Lavigne having died in a snowboarding accident like back in 2003 or something, and they replaced Avril Lavigne with a body double. The girl's name is supposed to be Melissa, and they say Avril's music has changed. You don't see her out in public that much, and when you see her out in public, her features have changed. Well, I will tell you this, bro. I've seen some before Melissa and after Melissa pictures, and yeah, it looks like Avril may have had a nose job, but I'll be quite frank with you, it looks like the same person to me. Musically, sounds like the same person to me, but I'm still very intrigued. I love the Andy Kaufman. The Andy Kaufman's still alive and well somewhere. I love Elvis. Elvis may be alive somewhere. I love all this hoax crap, bro. I can't get enough of this stuff. Let me tell you what else I can't get enough of. And obviously, the TV networks can't get enough of this stuff. Bro, that was a tremendous segue. A tremendous segue. It seems that a lot of these old shows are making their way back to television, whether it's a Netflix, whether it's a Hulu, whether it's regular TV. You all know about Fuller House. That came out about a year ago on Netflix and has done very well. Well, yesterday, ABC made it official. They're bringing back Roseanne, and they're bringing back every single person in the original cast, including Dan Connor, who died. They said, Roseanne said Dan Connor died in the last episode of Roseanne, John Goodman. So I don't know how they're going to make that happen. Maybe they'll do the Bobby Ewing dream sequence. I don't know. But every single person has signed up to come back to do the show. And it's going to be on ABC. It's going to be on network television. This isn't just the Netflix gimmick. But also, Will and Grace making a comeback. 24 making a comeback. The X-Files are making a comeback. In other words, what was once old is freaking new again. And the more and more and more and more I think about this, the reality of the situation is people love the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era was 20 years ago, around the same time as Roseanne, bro. Even before Roseanne, we had the Attitude Era. Bro, there's no doubt in my mind, a lot of people subscribe to the WWE Network to watch the Attitude Era. I hear it all the freaking time, bro. I don't get no royalties from that, of course. Throw good old Vinny Rule a bone. But regardless, love the Attitude Era. And quite frankly, bro, I am sick and tired of hearing people like Triple H say it's a different time. Yeah, bro, we know it's a different time. But it's a different time for Roseanne. It's a different time for 24. It's a different time for the X-Files. It's a different time for Will and Grace. It's a different time. But why can't we reboot the Attitude Era in a different way? And you know what, bro? I'm not going to give that away here. But I'm going to tell you why they don't do it. They don't do it because they don't know how to. It's real simple. Vince Russo and Ed Ferraro wrote the Attitude Era. Not Vince McMahon, not Triple H, not Stephanie McMahon. They have no clue of what that formula was, which is why you see today's product. I know what the formula was. Ed Ferrara knows what the formula was, and I made the decision, bro. I am going to write a one-page treatment, and I am going to send it to the appropriate people at the WWE. I want this all to go on record, to reboot the Attitude Era 20 years later. Of course, in a different light. Of course, in 2017. Of course, in today's world. But I'm going to pitch them. I'm going to, right after this show, bro, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write a one-pager. I want to write this show, bro. I want to pitch this to the WWE Network. I want to work on this show. And, bro, listen, I want to make one thing perfectly clear. I got no bad blood with the WWE. All the bad blood is one-sided, bro. They're the ones with the cheap shot. They're the ones with the JBL show. They're the ones with putting Bischoff on that show to bury me. Bro, I don't bury anybody there personally. Thankful for the time I had there. Do I bury the product? Yes, I do, bro, because that's my job. That's my job for the Realm Network. That's my job for Podcast One. People subscribe to hear what I have to say about the show. So whether I want to do a Attitude Era series for the WWE or not, I'm going to give my opinion. I'm going to give you my honest opinion of what I think on the product. It ain't freaking personal. It's a professional opinion. But regardless, I'm going to pitch that because I'm going to tell you right now, bro, I want to bury the hatchet with WWE. I don't want there to be any heat. But, you know, bro, they got to understand, I got to make a living here, bro. I just put my third kid through college. I still got to pay for Annie's rent in Colorado. I live in a barn in Indiana. I'm paying for her rent. And somebody's got to pay these bills, bro. So I pay my bills by being honest and giving my expertise. And people know we go to Vince Russo. This guy's a crazy man. He don't care what he says. But it's never personal. So I don't want to have a personal issue with the WWE. I really want to bury the freaking axe with them, bro. I don't know what their problem is with me. But I'm going to pitch this show because I think it's a show that everybody freaking wants, bro. And I think it could be a great success for the WWE. I think it would help me out, and maybe it can pave roads with my relationship with them. Hey, bro, if it can, great. Bro, I'm getting older. I don't want freaking enemies. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying, bro? I'm getting older. I don't want negativity. I don't want freaking enemies. So as soon as this show is done, I'm going to write a pitch and I'm going to send it to the appropriate people at the WWE. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about this whole indie wrestling dive gimmick. But before I do, bro, I got to tell you about my good friends at TrueCar. There's something about TrueCar that a lot of people don't know, and that's using TrueCar can also help you buy a used car. In fact, there are over 700,000 pre-owned vehicles available from TrueCar certified dealers nationwide. Now, whether you are looking to buy new or used, you can get upfront pricing information that empowers discounts off the list price for used cars and a better buying experience through their TrueCar certified dealer network. Now, TrueCar will find out what other people paid for the exact car that you're looking at, so they'll be able to school you. They'll be able to give you a fair price on that car so you can now go negotiate that car. They will also make the car buying experience less stressful, quicker, and easier for you. And the most important thing, TrueCar will save you an average of $3,000 off the list price. So when you're ready to buy new or used, visit TrueCar.com to enjoy a more confident car buying experience. Some features not available in all states. That's TrueCar.com. Okay. Let me talk about this indie wrestling thing. Let me talk about, we talked a little bit about, the comments Randy Orton made, that, people in Indy, they're killing themselves. They're diving. They're doing this. They're doing that. They're not drawing a dime. It's all about putting the asses in seats, yada, yada, yada. Listen, I don't think anybody has anything negative to say about independent wrestling. We all started in the independent wrestling scene. Not really me. I mean, I went to wrestling school, but like I did an indie show or two. If you're in the wrestling business, of course you need the independent circuit to thrive. And I don't think Randy Orton would deny that, but I don't think that's what Randy Orton was speaking of. And I really feel the millenniums are missing the message that we come on here and say over and over, week after week after week after week. The message is you don't have to kill yourself to make money in the wrestling business. It's unnecessary to do a lot of the things you are doing, whereas you can break a neck, you can break a back, you can get seriously injured, and it could be the end of your career. Wrestlers are working together. They're working with each other. It's a work. It's a fake fight. And we say these things. I say these things at 56 years old to try to protect these freaking younger guys. You don't have to do this. You're going to get hurt. And we see week after week after week all these wrestlers getting hurt in the WWE. Listen, man, I'm a big fan of Will Ospreay. I was talking about Will Ospreay a couple of years ago before anybody else was. When I went over to work in the UK and I saw this kid and I fell in love with him. But even off of the Orton comments, Will Ospreay now has a T-shirt that says Dive. I'm sure you can get it on Pro Wrestling Tees. There you go. There's a plug for Pro Wrestling Tees and Will Ospreay as well. But, sarcastic dive. But I think these young guys are missing the point. I think a lot of people are missing the point. All people like me are telling you is you don't have to go out in that ring and kill yourself. Wrestling is a work. It is choreographed. It is not real. You need to be safe. You're only going to be able to make money for a certain amount of time in the freaking wrestling business. You've got to keep that window open as long as you can. And if you're hurt, if you're on the sideline, if you're cutting years off your career, you're going to get to a point that you're not going to be able to make money anymore. You can't make money. You can't provide for your family. That's what it's all about at the end of the day, bro. We all do what we do to provide for our family. So when we talk about this, bro, we're telling you for your own good. Speaking of for your own good, it's the same with my own kids, bro. Bro, I just went back to Colorado over the weekend. My daughter graduated from CU. Congratulations. I went there from Thursday through Sunday morning. Okay, first of all, bro, we get there Thursday at about 2:30 in the afternoon. All day Thursday, I don't see either one of my kids. I don't see VJ. I don't see Annie the whole day on Thursday. So now one day's gone. So now we have Friday and Saturday. We get to Friday. I went to my daughter's graduation on Friday. After my daughter's graduation, she went to some graduation parties, and I met my son VJ for dinner. So I got to see VJ maybe the second day for maybe I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, 2 hours. So I'm there for 2 days now. I got to spend probably about an hour with my daughters, 2 days with my son. Now we're down to the last day. Okay, bro? The last day, Saturday, my daughter Annie spends all day with us. My son VJ spends a couple hours with us and couldn't wait to get away from me, quite frankly. Let me just say that, bro. We hit the record stores like we usually do, but at about 12 o'clock, he was already done with us. And that was it, bro. So in other words, I got to see my son VJ for about 3 hours. And I was in Colorado for Friday, Saturday. A solid 2.5 days, bro. 2.5 days. I got to see my own son for about 2 hours. Bro, I don't know what's wrong with the kids today. I don't know why kids today, bro, like just shrug off their elders. and why kids today have the attitude of they know everything and they don't need anybody else, including their own parents. I don't understand that, bro. Bro, I got to tell you something, and I'll never forget this. When I was 16 years old and I got my driver's license, bro, I was so freaking excited. You know why I was excited, bro? Because I would now be able to drive to my grandmother and grandfather's house whenever I wanted to. They lived in West Hempstead, bro, about 45 minutes away. I could drive and see them whenever I wanted to. I was excited about, bro. To this day, I call my father every single day, bro, like clockwork. He's 86, I'm 56. Every single day I call him like clockwork. I'm in Colorado for 3 days, bro. I see my son for 2 hours. I don't understand. I don't understand that these kids don't need anybody. They could do it all on their own. Bro, you know what? I got to be honest with you. I don't see great things being done. They're on their own. We let go of the leash. I don't see too many great things. I'm just being honest with you, bro. Without the tutelage and guidance of the elders, especially your parents, but let alone your grandparents, what they could teach you, I'm not getting it, bro. I'm not seeing great things. I'm being honest with you. I'm not seeing great things. Speaking of not seeing great things, I'm not seeing great things in Indiana. I'm really not. I love my cabin. I love my lake. I love being secluded. If this house were in Colorado, bro, I'd be set for the rest of my life. But I'm not ready to sit in a log cabin every day and do nothing. And I got to be honest with you, when I go out in the Evansville area, it depresses me. There's no place to go. There's nothing to do. Now, it was like that 33 years ago when I went to college, but I guess it was different because I was in college and I belonged to a fraternity and I had fraternity brothers. But I got to tell you, bro, I'm thinking 33 later, this place had to change. I mean, there's got to be stuff to do 33 years later in Evansville, Indiana. And quite frankly, there isn't, bro. There's a couple of record stores here. The Goodwill shops suck. Bro, they're freaking horrible. As soon as you walk into a Goodwill in Indiana, it stinks, bro. It stinks of old clothes and old people and old things. You walk in, you want to turn around and walk back out. In freaking Colorado, you go to Goodwills. It's like going to a department store, bro. You could eat off the floor in these Goodwills. So how many times a week am I going to go to a record store, bro? Okay, bro, there's one Carvel machine in the town of city of Evansville. That's a plus. There's a White Castle's in the city of Evansville. That's a plus. After that, bro, there's nothing to do. So I find myself getting up early every day. I'm walking about 1.5 miles every single day. I'm doing my podcast first thing in the morning. Then there's nothing for me to do. And I got to tell you something, bro. I'm going to be honest with you. There were a lot of empty promises of all those people that when I came to Evansville were going to help me find a job, through my fraternity and people that I knew at college. And, oh, yeah, Vince, with your background, You know what, bro? I got no help. It was all talk. It was all a lot of chat. And you know what I come to the conclusion of, bro? Nobody wants to help anybody anymore. My son Will called me yesterday. And, he wants to further his career. He wants to look into other things. My son Will can't get any help. So he's calling me. I'm trying to help him the best he can. I don't get any help, bro. All these people here that says they were going to help. Where are they, bro? Where are these people that said they were going to help? Nobody wants to help anybody else. I got to tell you something, bro. You could say whatever you want about Vince Russo. Quite frankly, I don't care. But let me tell you this. When I wrote for TNA for the good part of 10 freaking years, the way TNA was set up, bro, if you weren't on the show, you didn't get paid. It was that simple. And a lot of times, me and Matt Conway, because we were the ones who did the grunt work, we were the ones that wrote the show, that spent the hours on the show, not like Eric Bischoff's looking at the show for 5 minutes. No, bro, we did the work on that show. It was because of Conway and myself and the shows we wrote that TNA was up to 2 million viewers. Point is, we wrote people into the show so they could earn a payday even when we didn't even need them. In other words, when I was in a position that I could help other people, I helped other people. Now I'm sitting here in a log cabin with my thumb up my back. So where's my help, bro? Where's my help from all those people that I helped? You're supposed to pay it forward, bro. We're all supposed to help one another, bro. I got no help. So I'm sitting here in a log cabin. I go out, I feed my catfish. That's the excitement of my day. So who knows? Am I going back to Colorado? Maybe I am, bro. Who knows? Who knows? But we got to start freaking helping each other, bro. It's got to stop being me, myself, and I. Bro, that's why I keep going back to DDP. DDP comes on my show 2 days later. There's a freaking care package on my porch from DDP. Who does that, bro? Nobody does that. But that's the problem, bro. We all need to do that. We're in this together, bro. We all need to help each other, for crying out loud. Quit thinking about me, myself, and I. I don't even want to get into freaking Double J. Where's Double J now when I'm sitting here in my cabin in freaking Colorado? All the help I gave him over the last 20 freaking years, bro. And it's not only Double J. I can give you a list of people, bro. A list of, where are these people, bro? Nobody wants to help anybody else, bro. The minute I was in a position where I couldn't help somebody's career, I was dead to them. I was dead to them, with the exception of a handful of people that still keep in touch with me. Irish Pat, the Disco Inferno, a handful of people that still keep in touch with me. Why? Because I can't do nothing for them now. That's why this world sucks, bro. We should all be looking to help each other. When I was in a position to help other people, I helped other people. All right, let me tell you about my album of the week. I haven't done this in a long time. Bro, I sought out. I sought out this album for a very long time. I'm showing it up now on the Realm Network. It's a Rolling Stone album, Their Satanic Majesty's Request. This Rolling Stone album came out around the same time as Sgt. Pepper did. It was the Rolling Stones' answer to Sgt. Pepper. It was that psychedelic era, bro, that changed music. Man, Jimi Hendrix was hot at the time. The Beatles, Rolling Stones came out with this little ditty that is very, very hard to find. Bro, I paid $20 for this album used. I never paid $20 for a used album, but I wanted to listen to it, and I listened to it yesterday, bro. I never heard the album before. I'm going to be honest with you. But yeah, bro, it does not sound like the Stones at all. It is worth listening to, bro, just so you could bring yourself back in time, that period of music, 66, 67, that was starting to change the world. Another main reason why I wanted to pick up Majesty's Request is Rolling Stones on this album sing 2,000 Man. And if you know me, you know I'm a Kiss fan. You know the album Dynasty. Let me give you a few lines of it if you don't know it. Well, my name is a number. It's on a piece of plastic film. And I've been growing funny flowers outside of my little windowsill. Don't you know I'm a 2,000 man? And my kids, they don't all understand me at all. Oh, Daddy, proud of your planet. Oh, daddy, proud of your son. Little Ace Frehley ditty, 2000, man. Originally done by the Rolling Stones back in 1967. It is on this album. I highly recommend it. Listen, bro, I don't dig this Stones. I really don't. And obviously they went back to what they did best after this. But definitely worth the money. Check it out. Their Satanic Majesty's request. All right, everybody. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover on this edition of Chicken X. I want to tell you guys, too, please, man, try us out on the Realm Network. That's how I pay my bills. That's how I'm able to pay Jeff Lane. If anybody knows anything about podcasting, unless you're freaking Adam Carolla, or unless you're Stone Cold Steve Austin, or unless you're one of these giants, there's really not a lot of money, you're making the podcasting. So you got to do whatever you can. That's why we have the Realm Network. You can see all these shows you hear on Podcast One, see them on video a day earlier with extra content. We only charge, bro, 15 cents a show, 75 cents a week, $2.95 a month. You can sign up at the Realm Network, RELMnetwork.com, or russosbrand.com. You could opt out at any time. You don't got to sign up for 6 months or a year. You can go month to month, but it really helps pay us the bills. Well, that's it, everybody. I enjoyed coming back and doing Chicken X. I hope I filled you in on everything that was going on. We'll be back tomorrow with Castrating the Marks. I might work on new lyrics for Margaritaville. I know everybody loves that tune. But as always, bro, thanks for listening. Thanks for your support. I'll see you tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. Take care, everybody.